Hilarious. FBI agent who investigated Orange Man, previous president, on Russia collusion has been arrested for colluding with Russia. And nearly more than 3,000 people, more than the usual, are dying in Britain, calling for an urgent investigation by the government. Australia also, which was one of the strictest countries in the world when it comes to the things in your arm. I'm not going to say the name so they won't ban the channel. And also literally locking people up in camps because they didn't want to get the thing in your arm. Their death by heart attack has surged over 17% in 2022. I wonder what changed. Economic news, I'll leave it up to you to decide what the actual, I think kind of the secret's getting down. And I don't know if you guys saw the expose of Pfizer, how they're manipulating, they're directly, what's the word that they use? The virus of the pandemic. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get banned, but they're directing mutations because there's such a cash cow for the vaccines that they're literally changing it on purpose so we can go out and get more vaccines. These people are pure evil. Pure evil. In economic news, the past month, there's been 50,000 the word is job cuts. I always do the Spanish videos first, so I always think in Spanish when I do the English videos. But the past month, there's been 50,000 job cuts by the U.S. tech sector. 20% of all U.S. companies are planning layoffs in 2023. The U.S. manufacturing survey is coming at a contraction. This is like 3 or 4 months now that the PMI has come in into contraction, which is obviously we're expecting the recession to come and hit. German unemployment is now predicted to rise as well in 2023. And the GDP figure, the economy in the United States grew at a 2.9% annualized rate. Even though we did have those 2 quarters that were a contraction, we technically aren't in a recession, but we'll probably be walking into that in 2023. This is on top of the interest rates that were exploding, the energy shocks, the supply constraints. So pretty resilient that the economy actually still was able to grow. In Venezuela's inflation, the vice president said, has slowed to a annual 234% in 2022. And Argentina and Brazil are hysterically talking about creating a common currency for all of South America because anyone cares about those economies. Just kidding. Corporate news, Ken Griffin of Citadel Hedge Fund has broken the record for the most money made by a hedge fund at $16 billion. The last record was held by John Paulson when he bet against the mortgage market in 2009. He made $15 billion. And one caveat that I want to kind of put in here, ¿Qué
onda mis amigos? Excelente día. Pues aquí los regalos para las campañas, regalitos para los clientes, para que me manden la dirección y poderles enviar una gratificación junto con una carta de presentación para poder dar un mejor asesoramiento y mejores servicios. Buenos regalos, invirtiendo en calidad.
Isn't really a normal hedge fund. In my view, what they do is they steal money from you and I, because what they do is they front run the market, and it's completely legal, by the way. I wanted to do a video on that, so if you guys want me to do that video, let me know. ChatGPT from open source AI, which Elon Musk is involved with has now launched a monthly program at $49 a month. That means that if they sell 2 million people at $49 a month, that's Elon Musk's next billion-dollar company. Microsoft also invested $10 billion, and supposedly the executives at Google are now swooning their pants because they see a viable competitor against Google. Meme traders are back. Bed Bath & Beyond, after announcing that they were going to go bankrupt, skyrocketed because it was so cheap. And shares of Tesla up 7% after they reported their earnings. They supposedly did phenomenally well. They have $22 billion in cash. Elon Musk also talked about how the number of orders that are coming in January are more than twice the amount that when they can produce. And supposedly it's the best amount of orders that they've had in their history. Amex rose over 10%, announcing that it's going to raise its dividend by 15%, but they did report lower guidance for 2023. There was an interesting piece of news on Amex. The majority of the other credit card companies are doing very well because of what's happening with the consumers, but Amex is a lot of times for rich people or people who have money, so they're actually doing a lot better because the rich people just go out and spend money because they don't really care because they have all the money in the world. That's why you need to go out there and hustle. You got to be rich. Monday, Spotify announced to cut 6% of its workforce. Ford is planning a cut of 3,200 jobs, mostly in Europe. IBM announced they're going to let go 1.5% of their workforce. And a funny thing that happened last week, if you guys remember, Google announced that they were going to let go 12,000 of their employees, including massage therapists. So now that they're not doing well, they don't have to pay for massage therapists anymore. Shares of Adani Enterprises fell nearly 20%. If you guys don't know who Adani is, he is one of the richest men in the world and the richest man in India. There was a report that came out that he's doing a huge corporate fraud, so that brought down his companies and also the entire India.
¿Qué onda, mis amigos? Excelente día, espero que estén muy bien. Aquí les voy a dar un ejemplo de las inversiones en dólares, un ejercicio por $100,000 americanos invertidos aquí con nosotros a un lapso de 30 días, la tasa es del 3.13%, lo que viene significando un rendimiento por los $100,000 de $260.83 americanos, pagando rendimientos en dólares.
In stock market this week. In trade news, Netherlands and Japan have agreed to join the U.S. in restricting the exports of semiconductors and manufacturing equipment to China. India's January sunflower oil imports have surged to 473,000 tons, which is a record, 3 times the record. Now that the exporters, mostly, for example, Russia and others, they want to let go of their inventory. In a new study, this I thought was really interesting, the Earth's core may have stopped spinning. After a study that was done for 60 years, they're reporting that as of 2009, the core of the Earth, because if you guys don't know this, I'm just going to explain it real quick. So we live in a solar system, and there's a lot of things that come to try to hit us, like solar winds and asteroids and all that kind of thing. And supposedly because, gravity, right? If you jump, you come back down. Supposedly that's created by a molten core that's spinning. And with that spinning, there's a magnetism that's created around the Earth. Supposedly, that has stopped as of 2009 and has reversed. Surprisingly enough, if you guys didn't know, the North Pole is actually moving at a rate of about 30 to 40 miles per month from Canada to Russia. It's literally almost at the 40-degree mark in latitude. So literally just making a beeline to Russia. This is part of the reason why I think we're going to have a lot more natural disasters coming up. And they're going to become increasingly, the word in English is increasingly bad. So get your farm, raise your own chickens, because the preppers are right. In international events, the escalation in Ukraine is continuing now that countries like Germany, Poland, and the US are committing to send tanks. Unfortunately, this is something that could have completely been avoided, and I think was instigated by the U.S. But, you know, the powers that be, unfortunately, are the powers